What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Mr. Justin, and this is the Dominance Academy. And today we're going to be going over a video of this channel. I hope I don't get any strikes or anything like that, but whatever. You live and learn. But it's a channel called It's Complicated, and it's this guy who goes around and he interviews people with just your basic social media nonsense questions, the same sort of stuff that you hear everywhere. A lot of red pill stuff. It's presented in a seemingly rational way. Okay, so the guy is well spoken. He asks good questions, but the guys, they're just answering in this obvious male way. So when you hear just a little caveat for the video that I'm going to play, whenever you hear the word man, I want you to listen as male. And this is really what you like, how you should be listening to it, because it's just blasphemous with him describing men as he's describing them. So that's what I wanted to do tonight. We're going to go over this video and we're going to see what's going on. So, and I'm going to go through this. We're going to pick it apart and stop and go and sort of explain what the hell is going on here. So let's get into it.
Who sculpts themselves more for the opposite sex, men or women?
Men sculpt themselves for the women all the time.
How?
Well, we try to work on our bodies. We also work on the way we talk to them at home by ourselves in the mirror.
I'd say women, because they got like they got to wear the makeup, they got to do all their fancy stuff, they got to look good, they got to look sexual. There's a lot of pressure on them.
We try to find the best restaurants to take the one you like to a really nice restaurant, and we try to impress them around other men. Sometimes you'll see two men wrestling in front of a group of girls, stuff like that.
Which is more
So there it is for the first question. So you see what I'm saying? It's not men he's describing males. Males are going to go to the gym to impress women. Males are going to go to the gym to look better than or stronger than other males. Males are always looking at each other. They're always looking at each other, and they're always looking at they're always looking at women. Men, on the other hand, are always looking at the self. Everything you do is about the self. So if you want to go to the gym, that's fine. Do it for yourself. Don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what these women think. It doesn't matter if they think this or that is sexy. I don't give a shit. And it doesn't matter what other guys think. It really is irrelevant. All right? So like, again, as we're going through this, just listen and understand he's not talking about men. He's talking about males here. But males are the ones who are going to think about, oh, I want to take her to the nicest restaurant. No, I'm going to go to the restaurant that I want to go to. That's how it works. Yeah, I happen to like nice restaurants. I also like dives too. Some of the, I live in New York, so some of the smallest, crummiest little places will have some of the bangingest food you've ever eaten in your life. And it doesn't cost a lot. So really it's about experiences. And experiences always don't have to come with a large price tag. It's just about what you want to do and finding an experience that you enjoy, but also who she's with. And if she's with a man who knows how to have a good time without trying to cater to her this or that, which is always shifting around anyways, then you're going to have a good time. All right?
more unrealistic, the masculine standards placed on men or the feminine standards placed on women?
Why the fuck is he asking this at all? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would a man, and men don't, but why are males concerned with the visual standards placed upon them and then comparing them to women? I thought we're not the same. Why would we compare ourselves to women? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
I think the feminine standards are much more unfair. I think that, historically, just from beauty campaigns and magazine spreads, it's always been like this unrealistic approach to what a woman should be and look like, and it's like completely unfair.
Yeah, you know what? Life is completely unfair. There's good-looking people and there's not good-looking people. And that's just life. That's just life. That, like, if you didn't win the lottery or have a decent hand delivered to you via the genetics gods or whatever, so be it. That's just what it is. It doesn't mean you're going to have a shitty life. Just go on and live. All right. And quit moping about because some girls don't like you. Start by liking yourself. How about that? So you don't go through life feeling miserable and looking for someone outside of you to make you feel better about yourself when you should be just doing that on your own. Because if that person leaves or that situation gets dismembered, then you're going to be at a loss again, looking for that outside drug to make you feel better about yourself.
It's not to say it doesn't exist for men too, but it's really unfair for women.
Well, what are those standards and who defines them?
Women define them first and foremost, and the standards are mostly they stem from money.
A lot of money.
No, the standards are set by people who are, head of marketing. They're people who run magazines that are, running advertising firms. Like, they know what they're doing. They know that they can say, oh, girl, you want to look like this. You don't look like this. But if you buy this product, you will look like this. They know what they're doing. It's a money grab, and it's psychological warfare. But you know what? Fact of the matter is that, like, obese chicks are just not attractive. Being thin, light, having an appearance that you take care of yourself, this is attractive. It's about health. Okay. If a person looks healthy, that's going to be attractive. Now, do they have to be fucking ripped? No. And I really don't like women who have that appearance where they look ripped. That's not my thing. But actually, I had a teacher who was into that. He loved muscle-bound women. It was wild. But anyways.
So you think you know Wix?
Oh, fucking
Do you
hell.
really?
God damn you.
First up, we've got
Fuck
Let's
off.
just be real. He got to be in shape. He
No, he doesn't. He needs fucking game.
can't have this. He can't have that.
We gotta have money. We gotta have a solid home. Somewhere we live. We have to have a car.
No, you don't. Yeah, you should have a home. I mean, come on. And yes, you should have a job because you're a fucking responsible adult. But these are males who listen to the lists of women. Men don't give a flying fuck what their preferences or their desires are. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because they're just thoughts. That's all they are. They're just thoughts. It's just having a desire. Like right now, I would like a cheeseburger. It has the same weight. And it's the same exact weight, which is nothing. Thoughts weigh nothing. And so when they say, I want this, I want that, I prefer this, I prefer that, that's like, okay, good for you. Like, cool. All right. Nice to know you know what you want. Who gives a fuck? All right. Are you going to follow me? Are you listening to me? Are you going to get under my program? That's all I'm concerned about. That's all that matters. All right. I don't care what your far off dreams are in Neverland are. It doesn't matter. But males do. They listen to that stuff and they want to follow it. They can't help it because they don't have any direction. So they're standing around going, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I be? And they're like, well, I want women. Thankfully they do. They have this natural impulse as a male species to want women, but then they don't know how to cultivate that. So they look to the source of their desire and say, okay, well, tell me what you like and I'll try to be that. And then they look at the ideas, again, thoughts of these women and what they're saying, and it's getting loftier and loftier and loftier. And these guys are like, well, shit, I'm not like that. Man, these girls are crazy. They're asking for things that are just, unattainable. And it's like, dude, yeah, because you're putting yourself in their mental framework. Because you don't have a framework of your own. Grow the fuck up.
We got to be interesting, have humor, kind of aggressive. We take lead and take control. They want a lot of stuff out of us.
Sensitive, yet gangster, yet intelligent, and just you got to be perfect.
No, you don't have to be perfect, but I would say being well-rounded, that would be fine. Yes, be employed. Yes, take care of yourself. Yeah, have a roof over your head. Have decent wardrobe. And if you can learn how to make people laugh, even better. If you're intelligent, maybe, like, do you read? Like, how many books a year do you read? Come on. Like, read. Educate yourself about stuff so you have some interesting things to talk about, other than your fucking job. All right. Travel a little bit. Even if you can't get out of the country, just rent a car and go somewhere, get a little Airbnb, like round yourself out with experiences and knowledge. Okay. And for the most part, you'll be fine. And then, yeah, of course, you're going to have to work on your mouthpiece, which is like a whole other ball of wax. But if you have this baseline of just decent, you're going to be all right. But like these guys, again, they're looking towards women to give them direction on what to do. And they're like, man, I can't do that. These women are fucking crazy.
Masculine is a natural process. Why are men often shamed to be sculpted that way?
Because society is building a new man. They want I guess, a less aggressive man, just in case the tyrant.
Why the fuck you listening to what society wants? If you want to be a certain way, just be a certain way. That's what men do. That's the delineation between male and men. Males listen to the machine. They listen to the influences of the world around them and they go, okay, I'll be a good boy. I'll do what you want me to do. And men say, what do I want? Okay, let me figure that out. And then I'm going to do those things that I want to do. And if people hate me, they hate me. If they love me, they love me. It doesn't matter because I got all the love going on right here. And if they do, cool, that's just extra on top. It doesn't matter because then you never seek for these things from the world. You never seek these things from other people. And if they give it to you, it's just extra. It's the whipped cream on the top of your hot cocoa, which is filled to the brim. And then it's just extra. And if it goes anywhere, it doesn't matter because you're already full. You're already full of self.
Wants to put their strong arm down on the men and the women. We can't defend our homes, I guess. I don't know.
Are men shamed to be sculpted masculine?
Yeah, they're called beta males. They're called simps. They're called
I like this
soft,
guy.
I don't know. I guess I'm not familiar with this. I don't subscribe to that.
Why do people assume that if you're not successful,
This
it's
guy.
because you don't work hard?
For like social media gives people false reality sometimes on what they believe. Oftentimes it shows all the like fake good, but it doesn't show the bad that people are going through and everything like that.
I don't think money should equate to success. I think that's what they throw society on. Like, of course, you got money, then you're successful. But if you're miserable, and that goes back to the other question, like if you're going to a job just to pay your bills, but you hate it, you're slowly dying.
It takes trial and error to get somewhere you want to go. No one just starts, anything in one day. It takes trial and error, and some people don't want to be with someone who's building something that's not already set in stone.
Externally, yeah, men, we build constantly. We have multiple projects, multiple things that we're working on, and this is the way we are until the day our heart stops. That's just the way things go. Like, I'm never going to retire. There's not unless I get into some, I don't know, crazy accident and I'm a fucking potato in a coma. I'm just going to keep going. There's because there's so many things that I want to do. So externally, yeah, you're just going to be in a continual state of building, and you're never going to reach a peak, so to speak. Like you get to one level, then you're going to see another thing that you want to get to. That's just the way it works. But these guys are talking completely external. What really should be happening is the internal world. The internal world that you can build, and it doesn't matter what the fuck anybody thinks about that shit. But these guys are so concerned about what is seen. See, this is what happens when you let your mind get controlled by social media. You get controlled by visual worlds, and that's not the world. The world that you should be focusing on is yours, inside of you. And most of you don't even know what the fuck that is about.
If you're not a bodybuilder or a millionaire, does that mean you're not becoming the best man you can be?
Definitely not true. Definitely not true. You can become the best man you can be without being a millionaire for sure. For sure. Or a bodybuilder for sure.
If you don't got the money, you're not gonna have the women. You're not gonna have the.
Listen to this bitch. If you don't got the money, you're not gonna get the women. Are you kidding me? This guy probably hasn't been laid in years. This guy has no clue what the hell is going on. Money can get you attention from certain women. But like I said before in previous videos, you're going to be skipping along the surface. You're going to be skipping along the surface. You're not going to understand what it's like to have someone who is devoted to you, like a religious devotee. And hey, if you don't want that, you're not interested in that sort of thing, fine. That's totally cool. Like no criticism on my behalf. But I'm saying there is a pale, big difference between having that surface level stuff where you're just skipping across the top of the world of sexuality and you're just kind of banging chicks and then leaving them. It pales in comparison to when you have a woman or multiple women who are building shrines in their closet to your existence. And this guy is not that guy. He clearly has never had an experience of a woman who is really, really fucking interested in him. And as long as your mind is stuck on these external markers, like if I get a lot of money, then I get all the bitches, you're always going to be stuck on the surface. You're never going to develop further within yourself, which means you won't ever be able to get further within women.
The friends that stay around you with money, because money attracts money, and
Well,
it's
that's
just
true.
an all-around shitbag if you don't have your money together. Now, physical attraction and physical attributes, that's always a big thing when it comes to the female perspective. I guess they're thinking futuristic. Is my child going to come out with the physical attributes of a strong man, or stuff like that?
What's the difference between men's self-improvement versus sculpting yourself as a tool to be used by women?
The difference is you have to know why you're doing it. Your end goal is very important. If you keep your end goal as yourself being a better version, then the women will always be forced to come second.
I think you have.
That's right. That dude, he kind of gets it. You focus on yourself. You do what you want to do to better your life. If you feel like getting shredded, go get shredded. You do it for yourself. Excuse me. And the women come second. And that's just how it is. Because if you put anyone before you, then you are following. And then you're not going to win. You're always going to be in a reactive state.
Goals in your own mind about what you should look like, feel like, act like, and how you should think.
He said should. Be really careful with the shoulds. Okay, because should means you're looking at something else as your standard, right? So let's like the bullshit thing, like men should be in shape. Let's just say that's what it is. That means there's some other standard outside of you that you are saying is a should that you need to meet. Complete weakness.
Versus sculpting yourself for a woman is more like, it's kind of like putting on a show. It's like theater. It's like acting. We do a lot of acting when it comes to dating.
How much more is required for women to be satisfied?
Who gives a fuck?
A lot more. Because I think most women are not that satisfied with anything.
How much self-improvement is necessary to be considered a high-level man according to women?
I would say that's up to the person. It's different for every person. I can't say that the same for me is the same for somebody else.
According to most women, the stereotypical, you just got to be successful and just make a shitload of money.
Why do you need to be ultra
No.
rich to attract women if you're told to not lead with your...
Yeah, see, he's getting into one of the red pill things that I think is quite interesting.
Because of the expectations that women place on men nowadays, they expect us to be hyper successful and everything outside of the normal and outside of the standard, that now men have to be like that.
It's the easiest. I say that's the easiest way to go to pull women if you're ultra rich.
No. Yeah, pulling is different than conquering. Pulling is, see, when you're focused on just the surface, you're going to use words like pulling. You're going to use words like approach because your mind is still stuck in bridging the gap. Like the guys that I work with, I tell them stop using the word approach because the word approach means the bridging of the gap from A to B. So if you're thinking of the word approach or thinking in the context of approach, you're only going to be thinking in that distance between the 2 points, right? Then rather than saying, instead of saying I approached 5 women today, you say I spoke to 5 women today. See, there's a big difference in that. because you're not focused on the distance in between. You're focused on the event that occurred or the event that's going to occur. So you say, I'm going to approach 5 women today. It's much stronger to say, I'm going to talk to 5 women today. It's a slight shift psychologically, but it has a great impact in the mind. And these guys are all just stuck on the surface.
On their side, no woman wants a broke man, but at the same time, on our side, you got to give me time, baby.
Real women don't care about how much money you make, man. They're not even concerned with that. They're more concerned with your personality, what type of guy you are, what you gonna do. Like, are you fun to be around? Are you cool to be around?
Aren't you more likely to attract gold diggers, which is the very thing we're trying to get away from?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I mentioned before. You hear a lot in the red pill spaces, get your money up, right? If you want to attract women, you got to be rich, right? And then you flip the coin over and they say, but they're going to take you for all your money. Don't get married. They're a bunch of gold diggers. So you can't have it both ways. So what are you doing here? What are you doing? Because you tell guys to get their money up and be that top G, okay? But then when you're just going to attract a bunch of gold diggers. So what the fuck are you saying? It's completely contradictory. But the interviewer is asking that question, which I think is a good question to ask.
Yes, I definitely believe so.
Yeah, if you got the money, you're gonna attract all the gold diggers. I'm not gonna lie about that. Yeah.
You want to be successful, you want to improve yourself, but my honest opinion is all bullshit. Like, I have tons of money, but I don't look like I have tons of money, and that's how I live my life. Now, if I dressed up and had gold everywhere, like, I'd attract all the women, but like, none of those women would be sufficient for me because I'm not that type of person.
It's been said that average men are invisible to women, so men must improve if they want to play the game. But also,
No, average guys are invisible to women because average guys are weak. They have no game. You can, if you have game, you can make yourself visible. But the irony is that when you have game, you no longer give a shit about being visible. It's again, like I say it again and again and again, there's tons of ironies in the game. When you get to be that guy, you no longer give a shit about being that guy. You no longer give a shit about pulling women, right? Or approaching chicks or anything like that. It's not even part of the thought process. You might still do these things, but you don't even really think about it. It's a non-issue. It's not even the realm of thoughts because you're thinking about other shit. All right?
don't improve for women, improve for yourself. How does that make any sense?
Well, that's a catch-22 right there, because I'm trying to first improve for myself.
No, he's not.
You know, because we have our own dreams, and then you want to make sure that you're a stronger person for your, your next wife or your girlfriend or whoever you're trying to intrigue to get somewhere with them. You want to improve. You want to be better.
Who's more delusional? Sexy women who say they dress for themselves, or high-level men who say they improve for themselves?
Who cares? Why are you worrying about the thoughts and statements of other people? Who gives a shit what anybody says about men and women? It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. And if you fill your head with these nonsense things of like, who's more delusional? What does it matter? Let's say you have the right answer. Okay, how does that benefit you? There's no benefit whatsoever. If everyone comes out and man, you know what? You're right. Women are more delusional, or you're right. Men are more delusional. Okay, big whoop. Now what? You win the fucking cookie. You win the golden cookie. Okay. Golf claps to you.
Sexy women.
Who cares?
I'm going to go with the women because, it's easier to dress up than improve.
Don't both do it for the attention of the opposite sex.
Hey, it's
Who
Ryan
gives
Reynolds.
a fuck?
As owner-
It's God. When you're that guy around Ryan Reynolds,
But
when you're that guy, again, the ironies. When you get gamed up, when you become the self you're supposed to be, that's always been there since you're fucking born, you no longer care about any of this stuff. It's not even in your field of thought to be thinking who's this and who's that. All you do is just think about yourself, and not in this sort of like destructive way where you do it in a harmful way towards others. It's just you only think about yourself. You only think about your ideas, how you want to improve for certain goals that you have for yourself. Everyone else can just fuck off.
Job is a lot harder in terms of time and money.
Don't both do it for the attention of the opposite sex?
Yes.
Don't both do it for the attention of the opposite sex?
Of course, but like, who's gonna admit that?
If men have to improve for female validation, how is that not the ultimate form of simping?
Well, let me see.
Wait, what did he
Yeah,
say?
it is.
Ultimate form of
What did
simping.
it say
Don't do
here?
it for the attention of the opposite sex?
Yes.
Don't both do it for the attention of the opposite sex?
Of course, but like, who's gonna admit that?
If men have to improve for female validation, how is that not the ultimate form of simping?
Well, let me see. Yeah, it is kind of like simping. You know, you should be thinking about yourself first and the man upstairs. And then I think that'll attract everybody else that's trying to be in your cipher. But it doesn't always work that way. You know, some people are stronger and some people are weaker, man.
No, most are weaker. And if you're religious, then yeah, that's your thing. But yeah, you should be thinking about yourself first. That, like in life saving, that's what they do. They say, listen, you have to consider your survival as number one. And then you worry about the person who's drowning, because they will try to drag you down and kill you.
Just the way it is.
I mean, in some way, everybody's a simp. If you got money, you take a girl to a fancy restaurant. That's simping. You feel me?
No, it's not. See, that's the problem. This sort of shit is getting blown out of proportion. All right, where guys think any sort of attention, any sort of thoughts, any sort of action towards women is simping. Like anything you do, you like look at a girl and you're like, oh man, you're a simp. It's like, what the fuck? And they're just trying so hard to find the weaknesses in guys, and not in like a way of improving them, but to knock them down so that they can feel better about themselves. And, because misery loves company. But the thing is, though, is that when you are on your shit, men, we take women who are on our program out to nice restaurants, but it's when they've earned it. It's when they deserve to be treated that way. This is how this works. Men give our women presents when they've earned it. Everything. We give them dick when they've earned it. We give them attention. We give them time when they've earned it. That's how this works. Simping, quite simply, is when a male puts too much energy and time towards a woman at the detriment of himself. That's what it is. It's that simple. When he just puts her above him or puts her in front of him, and he uses too much of his energy, time, resources, will, all of it. That's all it is. But it gets blown out of proportion, and then you have idiots like this saying, well, simping can be anything. And then next thing you know, it's like guys walking around like racehorses. You know, they have those blinders on their eyes so they don't see the other horses. And guys just walking around like this, or like welding goggles so you can't see shit.
There's no difference of you being broke. You take a girl to Taco Bell. That's simping. You feel me? But I feel like it's determined on what you think simping is. What everybody thinks simping is. Simping's different for everybody. You feel me?
Dumbass.
Really, why are we shaming simps?
We shouldn't be.
But we are.
We shame simps because they are fuck ups. They are not producing anything positive for relationships, for the dating market, for society. They don't do anything except the only positive of a simp is they put money in the pockets of gym owners. They put money in the pockets of fashion designers, of travel agencies, of hotels, of restaurants. So there's a large portion of the economy that is dependent upon simping. So like, for instance, what did I see here? What was it? Let me look this up. It was I'm not gonna look it up, but anyways, fucking I think back in 2021 is when the last I saw the data that something like $13 billion was spent on Valentine's Day. $13 billion. That's crazy. That is absolute fucking bonkers. Do you realize how much more productive things that we could do with $13 billion? That's insane. That is insanity. Okay. Now that's not to say that all of the money that was spent by simps. All right. But I would say the vast majority of that money was spent by simps, and some of it was spent by women. All right. So what I read wasn't gender specific. It just said this is how much money was spent on Valentine's Day. So, just understand that there's a large part of the economy that is dependent upon symptom. And, we would probably have fucking social fallout if all the simps went away. So we kind of need them. And, to men who like to play the game this way, it helps us. So, because when a woman goes to spend time with that guy, then they can come back to us and go, holy shit, I didn't realize, until I had this comparison of experience of how different you were. So there's that.
You're right. We are.
Does it make sense?
I feel like you can't shame a simp. If you ain't got the money, you can shame them. But if you got the money for it and you able to trick off and do your thing, you can't shame them.
So if you don't have the money, you can shame a simp. But if you do have the money, you can't shame a simp. Okay, got it.
Who's more afraid to admit they're average, men or women, and why?
Man, oh my, well, this comes from perspective as a man, but like, yeah, I think definitely man.
Again, who gives a fuck?
Ego, that's why.
I think women are more apt to say they're average. I think a man's gonna they're gonna puff up their chest, and it's always the worst kind of guy that says they're not average too.
Man, I think women are
the worst kind of guy says he's not average. Well, when you know you're not average, you can cleanly say that you're not average because you have your own metrics. See, the thing is that males, they will use, again, external markers which to measure themselves by. This is how you stay average. This is how, because you're fitting into a mold that encourages averageness. That's how it is. So yeah, of course, the person who stands up and goes, "Hey, you know what? That's not me. I don't fit that mold at all." And then that guy's like, "Oh, those are the worst dudes." Yeah, you fucking psyop motherfucker.
more narcissistic than men. Serious. Who's taking 1 million selfies? Who's showing their ass in the mirror 20 times a day, man?
Who cares?
You can ask a woman right now, is she a 1 out of 10? And
who cares?
It's going to be on the higher end of 7 to 10. But if you ask a guy, we're usually more real with ourselves, but we don't put on makeup every day. So I'd figure we'd be more real.
As the great minister Jab, so-called great minister Jab says, even Jesus can't save these hoes.
If you had to choose, would you rather have one woman who really loves you or a rotation of models you have meaningless sex with?
Myself, one woman I'd really love.
One woman who truly loves me. It's hard to find love, yeah?
Oh, these guys. And these guys are, again, it's need. You can hear that it's neediness. I'm not saying that I want this, but this is what develops. This is what develops when you have a solid program that goes deep. Okay, deep rather than wide. Okay, that's like Taekwondo is behind that one. Excuse me. Deep rather than wide. Then from there, it just happens like a result of that. So if you've got a program that goes deep rather than wide and you're living by this, then people who come in, they get pulled down deep. And so it just so happens that women will want to come in and have a relationship with you. That's what they'll want to do. They're not going to be like, oh, let's just like fuck around and then, I'll see you later. Because of their depth, you will have influence. You'll change the way she sees herself. You'll change the way she feels about herself. She'll show up in the world differently, gradually, over time. As she spends time with you under your program, things will shift. And she'll stop thinking of the world in such a way and start thinking of you in a different way, almost as a replacement. So these guys, like, they want this. And I'm saying, like, I'm fine in having it, but it's not something I'm actually wanting after. There's no thirst for it or hunger for it. These guys are fucking hungry for it. They're hungry for this sort of thing because they know they don't got it in the any other way. They have no choice. So, like, this guy here, he doesn't have a choice. He can't be like, yeah, man, I'm going to be a baller. I'm going to be out here. I'm going to have tons of women, and I'm just going to have a different chick every other night. He doesn't have that option. He's not that kind of guy. So he can't say that. His only option is, yeah, I'd like one woman to love me for me and to give me all the hugs and cuddles that I need so I can feel better about myself and feel like I'm value, because he doesn't have value for himself. He needs it like a drug.
One person that loves me for me. I want somebody that likes me like I love myself, or loves me like I love myself.
Why do so many red pill men who can't get one woman think they'll end up having a rotation of women?
Because we're delusional.
Yeah, that was a great statement. Red pill guys, it's so weird with that cultish mentality where they think they've discovered some magic about women and they get them all figured out. And then they're like, I can get all these women because I'm so smart now. But the vast majority of them are alone. They have, so it's like you got all this knowledge about so-called female nature, yet what are you doing? You got nothing. You're sitting at home with your phone between your knees. Like, what are you doing? You're no master. What are you doing? But this is a very good question. And this guy answered very honestly. He said we, unfortunately, but they're delusional. They're delusional in the things that they think they know about the world and about women and relationships.
We're delusional.
Because they're getting sold a dream, man, by all these, a lot of different red pillar podcasters that, got cats who really, you beat off every day, all day, and you think that if you get your money up, that now you about to all of a sudden have a personality to start picking up women. Women do like money, but you gotta, I guess the saying is women are marketers and men are salesmen, and you gotta sell it, dog.
I think it's projecting, They're like, oh, if I can't get one woman, well, I can get any woman I want.
Oh, okay, genius. That's not projecting. Projecting is when you yourself have a certain behavior and you accuse others of having that behavior. That's not projecting, dumbass. But yeah, that one dude with the glasses, he spoke the truth. These guys who have these massive followings on these red pill channels, they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly the formulas to attract your attention and keep you coming back for more so that you keep buying onto their nonsense, because that brings them revenue. That gets them to sell their courses or through AdSense and all that crap. They are completely playing males, and they might show that they have some sort of like great lifestyle. And so there's this link between like, okay, so this guy thinks and speaks and behaves in this way, and he lives a great life. So therefore he must be doing something right. And geez, like, look at all the followers he has. He must be onto something. I'm going to copy how he thinks. I'm going to speak how he speaks. And maybe if I work hard enough, I can get into a place like him. But it's all bullshit. It's all manipulation. Understand that. So if you're still imbibing in red pill nonsense, cut it out of your life. It doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't turn you into a winner. It does not give you any sort of improvement whatsoever except using your time.
Why would women ever cheat on or divorce high-level men?
Because they found something better, or
No, because even so-called high-level men have no fucking game. Because even rich men get left because they're just still average dudes with money. Pro athletes get left and cheated on all the time because they're just average dudes with physical prowess. Celebrities, movie stars, they get left all the time. They get cheated on because they're just average dudes who happen to look a certain way and have a certain skill and they got lucky. That's all that is. It's just regular dudes who don't have that strong sense of self, aren't gamed up, they don't know how to lead, and they don't know what they're doing. And they fumble their relationships constantly.
Or they were just gold diggers.
Greed, not being satisfied, not being fulfilled, always thinking that the grass is greener on the other side, always trying to find something better, find more, or, you know, she just might be foul. She just might be a foul person, man.
If becoming high value is the end-all be-all, why have so many high-level men been destroyed by our legal system?
It's the end all be all for males. That's what it is. Males think this way. They think on a surface level. They construct architecture that is only surface deep. There's nothing underneath it. And that's how they get easily taken advantage of. That's how they easily get dismembered and broken down. Because what when you're thinking this way, all you have is surface. That's all you've got. So if someone can see that, and women are extremely clever, they're very, very clever. They can see that and then decide if they want to destroy it, take advantage of it, manipulate it. There's a whole slew of things that women and society and other systems can do to a so-called high-level man. I guess value has been replaced with level, but a high-level man, because he's just as pliable. All he is a guy who's worked on himself, but he still doesn't know who he is. He happens to have amassed some money. He still doesn't know who he is. I've had clients who are just like this. I had this guy who was from down south. He had built a tech company, sold it, and became extremely wealthy. And his wife played him like a fucking fiddle. And then they went to divorce court and the whole thing. Good thing he was a smart guy and he knew about the legal system and he had a good lawyer. But he was, you know, about to be raked through the coals, and he was able to defend himself and get things going on. But you know, the point is that when you are surface level driven, that's all you've got, and that can be easily taken away from you and easily manipulated.
Our legal system is somewhat corrupt. I hate to say it, but it's in the favor of women. I mean, I wish you could make a change.
It is, but it only affects males. Again, if you are a man and you know about influence, and you influence your woman, you influence your family, you influence people around you, this isn't going to happen. This will happen to males. And that's what he's talking about, because most guys don't have anything going on for themselves in their minds. They don't have the mental fortitude for this. They just want a woman. And then they get wrapped up into that whole shit, and then they get ushered into the divorce court system as still the same dude. So they get played from day one just by not being the right guy. And that right guy is a man. So he gets played from the moment he gets involved with a woman. He's already playing the role to fit the whole thing down the line. And next thing you know, he fits the next stage, which is him going through divorce, him hating women, him going MGTOW, him going red pill, him going black pill, all that shit. It all fits the same trajectory lineup for males. Don't be that guy.
But it takes all of us.
How do men benefit in the long run by sculpting themselves for a poor quality woman with superficial values?
Why is he assuming that the woman is of poor quality? You see, you'll never have a poor quality woman if you're a man. Males do, because males are easily deceived. They're easily tricked by beauty. And they see beauty and they think value. And then they back it up with some bullshit science like, oh yeah, she's good value because her body displays the ability to bear children. And that's his reasoning behind it, if you try to get something out of him. But yeah, males are easily deceived by what they see and hear. That's the wrong way to go about it. So you know what? If you're operating that way, you deserve what's coming to you.
They don't. it's just a temporary satisfaction of the simping of it. Like they're like, oh, look at my hot girlfriend, but literally when you're saying that, everybody's looking at your hot girlfriend and knowing that you just have her because you have money.
Are these the women to build a future with?
Some of them are. You have to get lucky. That's what I think. I think you have to get lucky.
It's not luck, it's skill.
Why are we trading a lifetime of achieving success for some short-term fun with a bunch of gold diggers?
Because who doesn't love fun?
For some short-term fun with a bunch of gold diggers.
A lifetime of
Listen to me, the gold diggers. Like, you can hear the disdain in his voice. You know this guy, the interviewer, he's not that dude. You know he's not. You know he's not. He's looking for choirs to preach to. And he's looking for people with very well-formed questions to lead them to certain answers to verify his already decided thinking points. Okay, that's a really biased way to go about asking questions with interviews. So he's already decided. What he's doing here is called confirmation bias. So yeah, he's not that guy. There is no luck. There's skill. And when you have the skill, you're not going to fall into these pits. If you want to spend time with gold diggers and that's what you want to do, go do that. If you don't care, who cares? And like, if somebody has a criticism about that, who cares? Go live your life. Don't give a shit.
achieving success brings you a lot more happiness than the gold diggers that come with it.
And if so, would it make sense to slut shame women on top of it?
You shouldn't slut shame women.
Exactly. You should never slut shame women. Sluts are amazing. I love sluts.
Say you ignore them.
I don't slut shame women personally because I think sluts are like that's an occupation for me, you know, and that's not a bad occupation. So f it. So
what's going to happen the minute you show weakness or you let your guard down?
They're going to shame you. That's what they do. That's just how life goes. As soon as you show.
Let your guard down. What are you guarding? I don't understand. If you have your guard up, what is it you're actually protecting? I don't understand that.
Weakness, somebody's going to shame you for being weak.
So how is that better than a boss-employee relationship?
It's not, but again, that's how life goes. And if you want to change it, then change it yourself.
Why does the manosphere spend so much time on self-improvement and men grooming themselves to please toxic women that just want to use them and bring nothing?
Why is he automatically assuming women are toxic? When you're a man, there are no toxic women. Because the second you see something that is not in line with your program, she gets either corrected and she has a chance to change, or she gets removed. It's the hatchet and the compass or the axe. So if men, we really don't see it very much. We see a little blip. And if that blip gets corrected, great. If it can't be corrected, it's removed. It's that easy. So only males will see this over and over and over, or they'll see it continuously with one person because they're weak. They have no standard and they have no enforcement.
To the table.
I think it's all about the chase. It has a lot to do with where you're at in your life. Some people feel like, I want something better, so I'm going to keep sculpting on myself. Maybe it will attract someone that is better in my mind at the gym or, stuff like that.
Well, self-improvement can't be the answer to the modern woman problem if we've got guys who have finished.
There is no modern woman problem. See, when you think there's a problem, that shows your state of mind. So by even be able to say that statement, you're already operating within that paradigm.
That mission and made it to the other end, and they're still ended up with the same women problems. I mean, the saying goes, more bitches, more problems.
Why are we?
No, for males, the more women a male has, the more problems he's going to have because he has problems with one woman. So it's going to compound with more than one woman. Men, we know how to manage. We know how to manage more than one woman. I'll tell you, it's not easy. It's not a simple thing to do, but if you have the time for it, sure. Men can operate with 2, 3, 4 women. I wouldn't suggest going beyond that, especially if you have a career, if you've got if you're running your own business, you're not going to have the time to have a roster. I promise you that. You will not have the time unless you don't sleep. All right. But you can do it. But but understand it costs time. You have to put it into these little pathways, pathways towards these women. And because that's how you manage something. You have to give it a little bit of energy, and then they play with it, bring it back, and you kind of do this sort of dance. If as a man, yes, you can do this. Just understand it takes some of your time and your energy.
Catering to women's preferences who don't have good values.
Because they're hot sometimes.
How is that
See, surface. As Steve would say, surface weller. Because they're hot sometimes. I think the question is why would you put up with women who have bad values or something like that? And the guy said, because they're hot sometimes. Who cares? Listen, I would rather have a 6. I mean, I don't like to judge women in this way, but I would take a 6 who she is like 10 toes down under my program. And not only that, she's proactive, meaning she is looking to my wants and my needs and my goals and does things that helps those things along, whatever that may be. That's being proactive. This is a fantastic trait. I would take a 6 who behaves this way than a 10 who doesn't listen at all. Because what value does she have? I mean, I could recognize her attractiveness and go, okay, yeah, she's very pretty. But beyond that, what good is she? What good is she in my life if all she does is just look good, but she doesn't listen? What's the point? But this guy, yeah, we'll put up with nonsense because she looks good. Dummy.
Just creating more simps.
It is, but at the same time, that's the world.
This is my favorite hat. I wear
Yeah, don't care about your favorite hat.
Get used to it. If you want more whatever, you're gonna get more simps.
How is that not just creating more simps?
Shit, it is creating more simps.
Well, shows
Now
like
that I
this
think
create
about
more
it.
simps.
It is creating more simps. It is, man. And just a bunch of fools who are about to get their heart broken.
I think what he was saying, the ad disrupted the question, I think, but he said with the red pill guys are saying like go out and self-improve, and he's saying, well, if that's to gain the attention of women, then isn't that just creating more simps? Yeah, it absolutely is. Don't you see? Red pill is poison. It's not there's this mask that they're saying, oh yeah, we're in it for self-improvement and all this stuff, and women are bad. Just focus on yourself. It doesn't work because it's not curing the disease that has these guys in a needful state for women in the first place. You see, you got to dial it all the way back past the surface levels and go down to the sub levels to where the problem actually lies. That's the only way you can actually address someone who has problems with being a simp or a nice guy. It's foundational. It has to do with your identity. It has to do with your upbringing. It has to do with your first sexual experiences. It's deep. It can't just be like, oh, solve your problems by, looking like this and doing like this in the world and everything's going to be fine. No, because you still haven't addressed any of that stuff that has dictated your behavior and the thoughts of yourself since that time, that early childhood time. You're not going to change just by getting a career. You're not going to change just by becoming a bodybuilder, or becoming famous on social media, or becoming an actor or a tech mogul or any of that other nonsense, because in there is still the arrested emotional development of a teenager or a child.
You know what I mean? Realistically, because it's ill-gotten, it's fictitious means. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's all fake. It's just a facade. You know what I mean? It's not really you. Or if you strip away all that, what you have, then what are you really? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Are they gonna mess with you then?
Exactly.
I doubt it. You know what I mean? Get laid off from your job and see what happens. You know what I mean? Get locked up and see what happens. You know what I mean? Things like that,
It's complicated, it's dope. And the ladies, they want.
All right, yeah. So this guy, he goes on to a rap for the entirety of the rest of the show. So yeah, that's the channel there. It's called, if you want to hear more of those interviews, it's called It's Complicated on YouTube. I doubt he'll see my video but if he does, sorry, bro. You know, don't mean to piss you off, but you know, he's doing the work. It just all makes sense. It's all linked together in a seamless way where it's just simps talking to other simps about the problems of being a simp. And you're not going to get out of it by self-improvement. You're not going to get out of it by becoming a top G. You're not going to get out of it by trying to dismantle and figure out women. When you become a man, you don't have to figure out women. They figure themselves out to be with you. And then you don't have any sort of deciphering to worry about. You don't have to worry of why is she doing this or what is she going to do next or whatever, because she's on your program. And if you know what your program's about, you know what she's going to do next. Or at least you have a general idea of where she's going to be operating within. That's what it's about. So really, guys, just rid yourself of listening to red pill content. It is a poisonous cult. It is not going to help you. It isn't going to improve your life. You're not learning anything. It's ruining your life. And those years that you spent watching that nonsense, you have to get that back somehow. You have to get that back. It's like being an addict. It's like you were addicted to methamphetamines for the past 5 years. And your internal organs are screwed. So now you have to spend twice as many years doing really healthy stuff to get your organs back up to normal. And the same sort of thing happens with red pill. You're going to have to work extra just to get your head in a normal place. Because all that time you spent, you thought that was normal. You think that's normal to be complaining about women, to be judging other men, to be judging women, to be all up in your feelings, to have anxiety, to spend time on websites and YouTube trying to figure out why women do this and why women say that. It doesn't matter. When you become a man, you develop your constitution, you have a program, you live by the axe and the compass and the hatchet. Everything is simple because you know exactly where it's operating from. No one is misbehaving. No one's operating outside the lines because you're operating in your lines. And anyone who comes in is operating on the same set of lines. It's easy. It's very easy. And then it just comes down to, where do you want to take it? Where would you like this to grow? What is your vision? And then you can take it there. And it doesn't matter if you've got one woman or two or three or four. It doesn't matter because you can have a vision for what you want moving forward. And it's like, hey, if they want to jump off that train, fine. That's cool. There's no prisoners here. They have full, complete free will to just, hey, you know what? Can you slow down a little bit? I'm going to get off at the next stop. All right, cool. You know, shoot me an email. It's fine. And you just keep going because you're not here for that. If they want to join you, cool. Okay. And if they do, and they follow the rules and they're proactive, they get rewards, they get benefits. And so I'm gonna head off now, but I want you to do a little bit of research. You know, when you stop watching the show, do a little bit of research on positive and negative reinforcement. So Skinner, all right, Skinner was one of the leading psychologists in this realm of psychology, of like behavioral psychology. Look up Skinner and then just do some general research on positive reinforcement. Now, negative reinforcement is effective. It's exciting. That's where, you know, punishments happen and things like that. But studies have been done that show that positive reinforcement is much more powerful. Right? The negative is exciting and it's, you know, it gets the adrenaline going or whatever, but it's more showy. But positive reinforcement actually has a stronger impact on the other person. So that is when someone does something to your liking, when say she does something that's along the lines of your program or something you directly asked her to do, you follow up immediately afterwards with praise. And you don't just say like, give her a kiss on the cheek, right? You pull her aside, sit her on your lap, give her a kiss on the cheek, and then tell her why you're giving this praise. You did a good job, or, I love what you did. And you get very specific about what it is that she did. And this is incredibly impactful. It's incredibly impactful for her, and or anybody. Like if you run a business and you have employees, okay, don't just lead with the stick, okay. You get more with the carrot, and then because they'll feel rewarded and they get that dopamine hit and from doing something good. So the more times you can, give that dopamine hit in not a consistent manner, because then it loses its impact. Okay. So if it's too regular, it loses the impact. But if it's intermittent versus having that negative reinforcement of coming in with the stick, the employees will actually work better, because, everybody likes praise. Everyone likes to be told that they're doing a good job. Everyone likes to be noticed and pat on the back for their efforts. So if you do this with the woman that you're dating and she's showing you that she is doing the right thing, or she's sort of like kind of moving in that direction, you can urge her along in the direction that you want through positive reinforcement. And this is not simping. This is strategically thinking about how you want to usher in the correct behavior and ignore the bad behavior, unless it's something that's completely egregious, that violates certain rules, and then you can bring in some punishment if that's what's necessary. I mean, I wouldn't do that with somebody who's incredibly new, but you can certainly verbally address it, and that's quite all right. So when you go jump off of here, do some research on positive reinforcement, and it's very easy to implement into your relationships. And it also increases your ability to communicate concisely and to communicate more clearly about certain things. And the more you do that, the more you're leading. All right. So do that when you get off of here. I appreciate those who have stopped by for the video critique. Again, if you want to watch more of that stuff, the channel was called It's Complicated. They've got some interesting things, and you'll see it's just a bunch of silly male nonsense. It's crazy. But yeah, thank everybody who has stopped by for the show. Thank you for those who have watched the replay. And if anybody has any questions, you can email me at thedominanceacademy@gmail.com, or you can find me on Instagram at dominanceacademy_. They still won't give me back my original one without the underscore. So Meta is a bastard. So, okay, until next time, I will catch you all later.